Hello, I'm Michael Callum and I'm here with Film Hub Wales and Made in Wales at the Welsh premiere of the new feature film Madfabulous, and we're going to be talking to some of the cast and crew involved in the film. Congratulations on the film.
Thank you very much.
How does it feel to be in a cinema right now, seeing it with the big screen in front of millions?
I mean, it blows my mind every day. Like, I feel like it's something that I've always wanted, really. Like, to have a film in the cinema is little Callum's dream, right? I mean, it's actually not even a dream because it's like stuff you can't even sort of fathom. It's amazing, and I'm so happy this film is finally going to be there for people to see and enjoy. I think it's coming out at a great time where I think we kind of need this film right now, really.
Yeah. So you're from the Creed originally?
Kind of. I'm from, I suppose like the borough of, I was born in Church Village.
Okay.
So I suppose, yeah, kind of.
Around
in and around there, yeah.
Okay. So for anyone kind of similar to you, that's growing up now, has the dream to be Callum, and like you,
yeah.
Have you got any advice for them? Big question.
Do you know what, right? And it's something that links to the film. Like, when I was growing up, I was talking to someone about this the other day, like, I suppose I did sort of get bullied a bit. But like I always like sort of didn't care. Like I think I'm quite thick-skinned, and I know I was probably quite lucky to be that way. What I'd urge people, especially if they want to be an actor or they want to be a creative or they want to be an artist or anything where it's sort of a little bit different and goes against the kind of norm for us kind of valley folk, I suppose, is that always stay true to you. And my mother always said, be a trendsetter or a trend follower. And I suppose I was always lucky to have that in my life, like someone who really championed me no matter who I was, no matter what I'd come home wearing or leave the house wearing or wanting to do next. Like, she always really championed me, and I think, even if you're not lucky enough to have that sort of figure in your life, as me, as someone like reaching out to people who kind of want to do this as a profession, is just like, stick to it, because you should, and if you're good at it, you'll go far.
So how do you prepare for your role of Henry when so many aspects of his life are, because he's a real person of course, but so many aspects of his life are shrouded in mystery still?
You know what? I had to do a lot of digging. I was actually quite lucky because Lisa, the screenwriter, she'd compiled like a big file and document full of all this kind of stuff that actually isn't out there publicly. So I read that, and alongside like some other research that I did, and I basically just had to just do a lot of digging. Unfortunately, the family kind of destroyed a lot of the stuff, which is really sad, because we all need Henry in our lives now in this day and age, even more so. But I suppose I had to do a lot of research, and I actually wrote my own sort of Henry diary, because one day I was like, I wish I had a diary. I wish I could read his writing. But I thought, I'll just try and write my own with kind of what I knew. And that kind of informed a lot of the process then when we were kind of creating him on set.
Amazing. And our audience may know you from Celyn, where we met Julia, and you talked about changing the narrative when it comes to Welsh representation. Do you still think there are enough Welsh stories on the screen?
I think we're definitely getting better, and it's Welsh characters, I think, because when I was growing up, you didn't have a lot of Welsh accents on screen, and I think that is so powerful to hear that and sort of have that kind of be in your living room on your iPad or whatever it is that we kind of watch things on nowadays. It's so important for young people to inspire them, and even not to just want to be an actor. It's just so important for us as Welsh people to see our lives reflected on screen, because that does so much for the country, it does so much for our people, it does so much for our history. So I really want to continue to be part of Welsh stories, and also to use my own accent, not because I'm lazy, because in this film I don't do my own accent, but I think because there's so much power in it, and I think we should just always champion Welsh stories and Welsh voices.
Congratulations on the film. It must be so exciting to see it in a cinema like this. How important is it to see the film in a cinema and live with an audience right there?
Well, it's rare these days, isn't it, that you get to share the emotions in an auditorium with other people with so much screaming. So it's wonderful to hear a little gasp or a little giggle. It makes my heart warm when I hear things like that. It's a beautiful experience.
Do you still enjoy seeing it with the people in the room? Is it still that new feeling every time?
It is for me. I'm terrible. I'm dominated. It is for me. It's the first time I've had a project which has come as part of fruition. So every time I watch it, I get something new out of it.
Amazing. And we noticed that there's like some Welsh phrases and songs throughout the film. Was that kind of a conscious decision, or was that something that you felt like just must be in there no matter what?
Yeah, well, I think it's sort of it's this Welsh North Wales story, and it was important to make it in North Wales, and all the post production was in South Wales, and it's a really Welsh project, but it was a project that was really, you know, what you were saying about the cinema. We've designed it to be watched on the big screen with as many people as possible. It's a big, joyous, heartbreaking emotions, you know, a film to be seen together, not on your phone, but on a big screen with as many people you like and love, or even a load of strangers that you might end up liking and loving after the film. And I think, you know, Welsh is through this like a, you know, its DNA. It's like it's written through it like a stick of rock. But it's also has that sort of appeal, you know, to as many people as possible. You know, we wanted it to have a big appeal. So, yeah, the Welsh phrase is, we're in Wales. Some people talk Welsh, some people talk English, some people sing in Welsh, some people sing in English, and that's just how it goes, baby.
Yeah, amazing.
I really wanted always to tell the story of Gelert and Bev Gelert, and there's a lovely element in this film where the butler Gelert gets to tell the story of its name. So that's such a beautiful North Wales legend. I thought that was a really important thing, and wonderful that it's now a cinematic moment, which I hadn't expected.
Actually, you brought up the quote that I have on my cue card about the stick of rock. I was going to ask you, what does it mean, both of you, to create a work that's based on Anglesey, where we're from?
Well, it's the greatest privilege in the world, because I grew up thinking, why does nobody know about this place? It's the most beautiful place, and it's the place most people seem not to have heard of. And so the reason I write is because I want to shine a cultural light on where I'm from. Encourage tourism, create industry, you know, get jobs, but tell stories. The Welsh are great storytellers. We have such beautiful legends, and to celebrate Welsh storytelling and fantasy. It's the greatest privilege.
I think we can do it. You know, we can do it. The talent is there, the space is there, the resources are there, the landscape is there, and, you know, to tell Welsh stories, but let's go to space. You know, let's do a Western. Let's do the days of disco. Let's do everything. I mean, just watching, you know, in Anglesey where we grew up, you know, Hollywood and the movies were so far away. It existed in the video shop until they reopened the cinema. And now there has been sort of 6 feature films have happened in Anglesey. Sort of, Dana Day-Lewis came out of retirement and did a film there. We've done Madfabulous. There's been On the Sea, Black Church Bay. You know, Anthony Hopkins is filming up in North Wales at the moment. They're going to go and do a bit in Anglesey. So it's, for me, it's like absolutely shine a cultural light and celebrate the area, but also wave a flag for the industry, and let's just keep doing it and keep making it, and we can only be limited by our ambitions, I think.
You talked a little bit about growing up in Anglesey as well.
Yeah.
Was there any experiences, like of you guys growing up going to the cinema, that really kind of affected the way that you kind of felt like, oh, I really want to be a filmmaker or writer in the future? And if so, what film did you watch that inspired you? I'm very curious.
Well, I think this is where we get to let the secret out of the bag, is we're brother and sister.
Right.
Which we buried that lead, but this is our exclusive. So my sister Lisa, who wrote this amazing script, and I got to direct it, so this means a hell of a lot to us, it really does. And, you know, she took me to the cinema for the first time. We saw Ghostbusters. I ran out of Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, because I was too scared. You know, all these things. So, you know, when we talk about it, we really do know this world, you know what I mean? And you know, there's, isn't it great to be making something that is built for the big screen? You know, we made it together, and if we do not use cinemas, we're going to lose them, you know? And we don't want to lose them, so let's use them. And that experience, that collective experience, you know, do you remember what it was like when Full Monty came out and we all cheered when they all took their clothes off? The bit where we all gasped at the ghost in Ghostbusters, you know, all these things, you know, Indiana Jones, all these things, they've built us, they've created us. And why, let's make films that, you know, films aren't being made for the big screen, and thank goodness We've got amazing partners, we've got amazing support, from you guys as well, all the way through. So thank you very, very much. That we want to keep sort of cinemas open and films live and be making things that people go and watch together. Otherwise, it's going to go. And films like Madfabulous has a chance. It really has a chance to do that and to make it with my big sister, but I look like the older brother. I know. I'm aging for both of us. I know that. But it really is a sort of extraordinary experience, sort of, not only as a family, but as creatives. And the people who turned up for us, both sides of the camera. It's an amazing cast, led by magnificent Callum. Rupert Everett, like you've never seen him, will break your heart. And this amazing ensemble of Welsh actors and North Walian actors. I'm playing against type as well, sort of really sort of betting it. So, and then this myriad, this embarrassment of riches behind the camera in our HODs, cinematography, the hair and makeup. They've all got Oscars and BAFTAs aplenty, the design, the costumes. Because when Lisa delivered the script, sorry, I'm talking too much and I will shut up. But when Lisa delivered the script, to tell this story as a director, I felt like I'm going to have to be like the almost a stage manager, almost like the Brian Epstein, almost like the Warren Gatlin, you know what I mean, here. Because the superstars that we need to tell a story are costume, hair and makeup, lighting, design, cinema, because they're the ways Henry expressed himself. That's how he told his story. So we sort of embraced this sort of super group, and it was sort of, I guess, my job to have some generalship over that and sort of balance that. But it was really important to tell this story the way Henry may have told this story, which is through expression and not so many words.
That film you went upstairs to see when you ran out to Return to the Jedi, the usherette took you upstairs and sat with you and fed you sweets.
Yes.
And you watched
Superman 3.
Was it Superman 3?
Yes, it was Superman 3.
Oh, do you remember what cinema this was in?
It was the Empire Cinema, Holyhead.
The Empire. So my moment was I left Annie, crying my heart out, crying on the street, and my friend's mother said, "Oh, you poor girl, were you scared?" Because she climbed up the bridge at the end. And I said, "No, I'm crying because I want to be an orphan," which is a terrible, terrible thing to say, obviously. But I just thought they had so much fun. And that same thing happened when I went to CET. I cried for 3 days.
Yes.
I had to have time with school. I was absolutely broken.
Oh, that's lush. And I'm so excited to see that now, see the reactions of the audience to the film that you guys have made after having those reactions to other people's films when you were over. That's such a nice sort of full circle moment.
Oh, no, every time we've screened this movie, hearing people laugh, hearing people gasp, hearing people sob in the audience is just, a joy, isn't it? It's just wonderful to sort of, people really feeling it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And finally, I'm just going to ask, what does it mean to kind of be shining a light on this untold queer story being here at the Iris Prize Film Festival?
Oh, well, but poor Henry was erased, he was erased by the shame of the people around him, which was an atrocious thing. When Callum first told me the story about Henry Paget, I couldn't believe that this most exotic guy, grown up virtually in our backyard, the most glamorous, wonderful person I'd ever heard of, and then being erased, and that just creates an allure about him. But he embodies such a 2026 philosophy. He's so modern, he's so contemporary in his attitudes. He just didn't see barriers in society, and the fact that he was living that way proudly over 100 years ago, it's just marvellous to be from North Wales and know he was one of us. So, it's wonderful. It's wonderful at the Iris Prize. Hosting it here, we're having the most glamorous night in a tribute to Henry, who I think would love it. He would love the gilt and the glamour and the velvet and the pearls and the diamonds.
And Berwyn, who, Mr. Iris Prize Berwyn, is from Anglesey, and Rupert Everett was his long-term crush. So it's a big old draw. So Berwyn has been such a great supporter. When this film was being made, reached out. I've always really admired the Iris Prize, the festival, and the swathes they've cut and support they've given to the industry. So we just had to come to Wales. We just had to associate ourselves with Iris, especially on this story with Henry, being such a sort of queer icon. And also what he means, people project onto this iconography of Henry, that picture of him there. He means so much sort of beyond words. So it was really important to sort of loop up with Iris and work with Flair in London when the film came out. And also, we get asked a lot. Well, I get asked a lot about indie cinema, queer cinema, Welsh cinema, and it seems to me they've all got the same parent. They've all got the same mother, and their name is cinema. So let's just keep shining a light on all of it and sharing as many stories as possible. And let's not be surprised that films get made. Let's just be the thing we do.